if we look at the perspective and evolutions in terms of the data, has it been considered to integrate other sector-specific data to cover this information, like installed capacity, sales, this type of information?
Yes and no. So, I mean, installed capacity, for example, is a data point that is not relevant to all sectors, right? So really for RBICS and GeoRev, we found that top-line revenue is like the data point that can be used across sectors to really create these breakdowns, right? And to give you granular information. We do have some data sets, though. I'm thinking now of a data set called FactSet Deep Sector, where we really deep dive onto specific sectors, like, for example, metals and mining, like, for example, utilities, oil and gas, right? We give you much more granular information. And, clients can basically do a combination of these data sets to get more granular information. But as part of RBICS and GeoRev, we really want to focus on revenue and providing to our clients one system that they can basically compare the whole universe with one metric, and that metric just happened to be revenue, yes. Okay,
yeah, makes sense. In all the different conferences we're going, all the conversations we have, investors are investing more and more into private markets. You mentioned that the coverage was mostly on listed companies. Do you have specific data sets for private markets, or are you thinking of extending maybe the offer on this side?
Yeah, so I mentioned at the very beginning that RBICS actually is a family of 4 different data sets, right? And the 2 that I mentioned the most so far was RBICS with revenue and RBICS with trade names, which are multi-sector data sets, right? Classification systems. We have a data set also called RBICS Extended, where we actually cover more than 3 million public and private companies. And FactSet Extended is a single sector mapping, right? So for these 3 million or more than 3 million companies, we just do a single sector mapping, and it's up to 4 levels of the RBICS taxonomy, right? So there, what we can tell you is, in which primary area is a company operating in and generating revenues, and that's basically what we're offering on the RBICS side, right? But FactSet also has a private markets database, and we have controversy data for more than 200,000 private companies and counting. So we do also try to incorporate private markets into our offerings.
Yeah, I guess it's a demand as well from your clients.
Yes.
So do quality scores and coverage flags exist for these data sets, and how are they calculated? Because I think
coverage flags
and for quality as well. Because I guess on the quality of the data, you were saying you have this data management platform where you're centralizing your data, making sure technology can help you to make sure there are not outliers, for example. So yes. How are you maybe providing the information on quality for your clients, and at the same time on the coverage side, how are you helping your clients to see if they are good coverage or not?
Yeah. So coverage flag wise, I think for RBICS and GeoRev, which were the 2 main data sets, right, that we discussed so far, it's quite obvious because we cover all publicly listed companies, right? So
they know what they can get.
That's like we do coverage checks for our clients, of course, but usually if they cover public markets, then it's 100% coverage. If they cover private markets as well, we have RBICS Extended where we can do some help. On the quality score, we basically, on the RBICS side, we just use company reported data, right? So the quality score would be 1 for all of them because it's traceable, it's transparent, it's coming straight from the reports from the company. So there we don't really have a quality score. But for GeoRev, where I mentioned we use this algorithm to also do estimates down to the country level, right? To give you country level revenue exposure. There we have something that we call a confidence score, right? And the confidence score basically tells you based on how much information was this estimate done. So if a company, for example, reports that they make 15% revenue out of Japan, right? Then that would be a confidence score of 1 because it's company reported. And if we have to break it down from a bigger region down to the country level, then the confidence score will be lower than 1. And based on the amount of information, we would be able to tell you, with how much confidence can you actually rely on that data point.
Yeah, I think this is really what investors are looking for. If they can trust the data, if not, exactly. They're aware that this data point is maybe less usable, or they have to maybe confirm the information with the company if they want to.
Yes.
The last question I have is there are more and more questions in need, especially on the risk analysis around asset level data and company level data. Are you integrating, so you were saying on the supply chain data sets, maybe how about integrating supply chain information and dependency to critical areas like water dependencies with the droughts for some manufacturer in a specific place? This is something that is interesting as well when you're doing your risk analysis as an investor.
Yes, and we do have that data, not part of RBICS or GeoRev because they serve a very specific purpose that we discussed already. But we do have asset level data, right? And that's, as you rightfully said, that's a request we get more and more now. So as part of our deep sector data set, for example, we have asset level location data, and this we have for the mining, for the oil and gas and utilities sector. We basically map all the assets of companies, and we can give our clients latitude, longitude data for all of these assets. The same for the supply chain data set, right? So we can tell you basically where's the headquarter of these suppliers, right? Again, with latitude, longitude level information for you to do some sort of a mapping, right? To basically map out, okay, what are the assets of companies in these sectors? Where's the supply chain located? And then you could, of course, overlay certain maps. I don't know, heat stress, water stress, and other maps to basically assess vulnerabilities or cluster risks or something like this. Definitely something we look into and we're continuing to develop. Yes.
Yeah, great.